Hi guys, Natalia here. Today we'll walk you through Lyney's story quest called The Forgotten Thief. Let's go!
Isn't that Charlotte? I see. So you believe that this warning letter was sent by the Phantom Weasel?
Absolutely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Phantom Weasel never acts as you expect. He must have faked his own death 10 years ago using a body double. Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for a headache, but however this turns out in the end, the one thing it won't be is boring.
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of this one. Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Huh? Hey! What a coincidence! Fancy meeting you here. Perfect timing. So, the Phantom Weasel's latest warning letter. What are your thoughts? Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this. Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is, well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm about 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of Fontaine, known only as the Weasel. No. Wow, cool! He sounds like one of those. Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good reputation. Our Weasel targeted whatever people held dear. And no, he would just as soon steal a necklace from a rich merchant's safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know. The phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor, but this guy did not discriminate. Unsurprisingly, this didn't work wonders for his public Yeesh. So, not exactly. There's a good chance that the Weasel would still be at large to this. A magician named Caesar fell to his death in a botch when the police went through his personal effects. They found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used. Sure enough, thefts in Fontaine went down after Caesar's death. But today, 10 years on, the notorious thief has once again issued one of his warning letters and pasted it on the gate of the opera. I had to squeeze through the crowd this morning to get a photo as soon as I heard. Here, it's... So, this is the warning letter, huh? Let's see what he wrote. 3 days from now, when evening falls, I shall take from you that which you hold most dear at the opera house. Just as you did. This is, without a doubt, a clear declaration of criminal intent. After years of laying low, what once seemed like an open and shut case has been blown wide open again. But why has he reemerged now? And what does he want? Uh-oh. If this thief will steal anything that other people value, does that mean even we might be targeted? Really? Oh, let him try. In fact, Hyman's gonna eat all our snacks. Okay, the people have spoken. It's clear that the public are very concerned about the phantom. Let's see, I've got a photo of the letter, my interview notes. Yep, that should be enough to form the skeleton of my article. It does feel like something is missing. Something exclusive. Who should I interview next? I need someone with a more concrete connection to the Weasel. Is that who I think it is? Lyney! Magic, magician, Caesar, the Phantom Weasel! That's it! Let's go interview Lyney! You see, the original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves and magicians have in common? Are you serious? What sort of a deduction? Oh, relax! My journalistic instinct tells me that an exclusive news story is beckoning.
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy, which means...
Really? Then, what am I thinking?
Well, first you need to relax, because I can see that you're clenching your fist in your mind.
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. You're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. You snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie so you could come out and play.
You can tell?
Of course. Oh, and that's the end of my performance. You should really be heading home.
All right, got it.
Why, hello. We meet again.
Oh, why don't you get...
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you?
I'm sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like he...
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated... That, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents, and he looked as guilty. You guys, on the other hand... Let me...
Wow! Got it in one!
Wait, really? His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking...
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news about the... So, Lyney, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief's Angry? Why?
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something...
Wait a minute, you don't think...
Well, if he is, then his warning is clearly a direct... And if he's not, then it's still going to be a huge... The mere mention of the Weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter get out... But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day. This leaves me with only one choice.
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel between a famous magician and an infamous thief? What?
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom Weasel is a notorious crook, infamous...
You're being far too modest, Lyney. I think your magic tricks are even more inscrutable than those of a thief.
Thanks for the compliment, though I have to say, a lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things disappear without the person noticing. But allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
It's good.
That's the question. Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear. If I could now invite you all to check your clothes, there...
A surprise? Let me see! It's right there! But how? You haven't moved this whole time! What an outstanding trick! Sorry, Lyney, it seems that my previous
Don't worry, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to take the opportunity to, perhaps since Caesar's death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might I presume, for example, magicians often use rainbow roses in their flower-related performances to represent passion, but you used a Lumidu spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to separations. I'm curious.
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're such a successful journalist. But I'm afraid I don't know the first thing about... It sounds like something I should look into, though. I'll buy myself a copy of Fontaine's Floral Language Facts when I have some time. But it'll have...
Well noted. In that case, this brings us to the end of our interview. I, for one, am looking forward to the final showdown between... Please feel free to get in touch to update me on any further developments. Otherwise, I will of course see you at your show in 3 days' time. But let's hope if there's nothing else, I'll be off. You've given me lots to work with here, and I've got no time to lose if I want to write that exclusive... So, Lyney, are you gonna tell us...
I'm afraid...
Well, magicians aren't... You feel it too, right? So itchy!
Not so itchy then, huh? Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to serve as my temporary...
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun! Assistants are technically magicians too! Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done! Shall we go for it?
The first thing we need to look into is who Caesar really was. If he truly was the Phantom Weasel, that means that the Weasel is dead, and whoever wrote this warning letter is just a cup. But if he wasn't the Weasel, Well, that'll make things more interesting. It would mean that And if we're investigating Caesar, his fiancée Gemma is a good place to start. Word is that she visits the cemetery often. We should make a move. Let's go and rendezvous with
You took your
Sorry, I bumped into the Traveler and Charlotte en route, and we...
It's been a while, Lynette. We're working as Lyney's temporary assistants in the investigation of the Phantom Weasel. Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation? Have you seen
Nope. I've been here a while, and she still hasn't...
How bizarre. Well, we won't get anywhere by standing around waiting. Traveler, Paimon, let's go ask... Excuse me, good sir.
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiancée?
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I need her help with something.
Yeah, she does. Poor. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his grave. Often, she just sits there. I asked her what she was doing once. She said she knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but she just likes to spend time there, telling her fiancé all about how her life is going.
And she's been doing this ever since Caesar passed away?
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his identity was revealed, so no one else visits his grave. Gemma's the only one who still thinks about him after all. I don't know if the mind lives on in the waters after death, but if it does, I'm sure Caesar must. If I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to poor Gemma. Her fiancé was a low... Anyway, all of that said, she's running later than usual today. Normally, she'd be... Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid. You might have more...
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of this with us.
You're welcome.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's...
You're kidding. Wait, isn't he dead?
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news flying around nowadays. But what if? Just hypothetically, I mean. What if...
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up. The Caesar I knew was a good guy. He gave
Oh, please. Weren't you the one cursing his name to high heaven when the police announced the news? You were all...
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but we're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to get to the bottom of it. Do you think you...
You've come to the right people. Yep, I was there. Back when he was a great magician. The best trick I ever saw him do was pop a transparent balloon. Oh, I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once. But for the life of me, I still don't...
I saw him perform too. He always used to bring some gifts along for the kids who came to watch his show. Sometimes, he even got the kids to write their wishes down, and then he'd make the items on the...
He doesn't...
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find... As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal just about...
Whatever the case, now that the Weasel is back, Caesar's become... I bet Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's name gets cleared, maybe it'll No, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she's definitely the one to ask.
So that's Gemma. Wait. It looks like she's...
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean... It looks like you're injured.
Thanks for your concern. But you didn't
My name is Lyney, and this...
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler.
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. You knew Caesar better than anyone else. So if you're... I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you. I suspected as much. Okay, so going back 10 years, do you remember anything?
No.
Got it.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be alone.
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely something.
She's lying. She definitely knows.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about things that happened a whole... In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside... Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. Today, we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo, When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. He's since left the magic. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned though, I hear he...
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with...
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they begged and pleaded with me to bring them along.
Oh, forget the pleasantries, just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but...
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase.
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to... Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims to be planning something for the same evening that I'm scheduled. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the Weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter? It changes nothing.
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do...
Possibility, it's a fact, Lyney. Look, my patience is limited, so listen. The Weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you...
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. But this isn't about my pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this person has thrown me the
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me what
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to know for my...
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets. And in any...
Uh-oh. This is getting up.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know that...
Another day, I'm
Oh, come on! You can't be all business all the time.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it. Now get out of...
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had...
Oh, hey! This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul-mouthed and he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend. despite being, what, pushing 40, 30, something? Anyway.
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me.
Sorry, I may have had a little too...
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Lyney, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion.
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your... He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma.
I think so too. We need to... That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only just left. Let's see if we can catch up. You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about... I said way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself into complete finance.
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off?
Hey! Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs.
What kind of bad...
Don't even ask. I'm sorry. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him flare up back there. I don't know. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this. Don't get in over your head.
And there he goes.
Shh. I think we're being watched. Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and
So you're Lyney. And where's your sister? Ain't she... Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't...
Looks like we can't avoid... Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back...
Don't worry, we got...
Step right up!
Take flight!
Yeah!
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't...
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said just before? Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And they've already done it! You're right! She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open... Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get any...
Gemma?
You again.
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and so you...
What? Why?
Sounds like they're...
That's putting it mildly. I know them all. It's been 10 long years. And still, every time I try to look into Caesar's... How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can...
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you that because you see, this is a personal...
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups lurking.
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma. Don't let her come...
Got it. But if I'm staying here...
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too. They're likely to come for you while I'm away.
Okay. All right. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking this...
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are blocking the entrance. There we go. It's...
So this was Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's...
And voila!
Everybody stand back! My apologies! Embrace the ice! Yeah!
Whoa. Look, the doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look. These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting... If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden... Aha! If I just move this book...
A secret passage!
I'm a magician too, and apparently great looks pretty big inside. Step right up.
Take flight! Yeah! Let me scry!
Now disappear! Let's get this show on the road!
My apologies! Yeah! Why have you stopped, Lyney?
It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on. If anyone makes a major discovery...
All right, see you in a... In one run, huh? Wow! There's a hidden room here! This book's thick as a brick! Let's take a peek and...
At one of my shows a few days ago, as a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that. I wound up saving very little this month. But that's not a major issue. 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course. I told them that learning magic is very hard work, but that didn't faze them at all. It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those two children. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. Compared to them, with time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature for their age. I fear Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. They don't bother me. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the two kids. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents have It's only been 10 days since I first met them. They're very tough, but also very cautious. And they hide things from me too. For example, that's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying, I can sense that their lives have been hard. Possibly even dangerous too. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophy. Oh, Caesar, Caesar.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Lyney and Lynette. So did they meet Caesar with... Lyney?
Shh, hold that thought. As I
Fishy?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you how first, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high and at this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the... Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd... Oh no! Is that me?
Very vivid description. Paimon can really...
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished. As if everything that just happened was some sort of Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically speaking. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, he fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on what I could gather from his notes.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape, Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but if it's that... Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance. And it's not as simple as it... Once the magician's inside, and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view... From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom. But the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly returns to ground level.
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even Paimon...
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins to strengthen the impression that there's many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes long, but one that still manages to transform the Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some...
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side.
Okay.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which leads me to believe because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on, but a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at will. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, and so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectation. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. That's why exactly I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the but I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it was second nature. He'd barely need. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the button. Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to process. Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another second or two. With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything. The authorities would find nothing suspicious and conclude that his death.
But in reality, someone switched the button. But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed? That would be difficult.
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed and who could move his props around without arousing. Isn't that right?
You just couldn't let sleeping. There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, you know, but I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back off like the late.
You mean Gemma? So
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you, which is why you can't leave this place.
Written in the stars. Take flight. Teamwork is dreamwork. Ha! Kamisato art. Sovetsu. Yeah, yeah.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? I think it's high time you started talking, and what I'd really like—
If I had a Mora for every time you said that man's name. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the—
So it was jealous.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him. Never bothering. But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and he forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their Mora. There was nothing, and with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled, I had to kill him.
And this was your own—
It was reason enough. What other
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance—
In love with Gemma, don't—
Guess I was wrong about that then.
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. He insisted that I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever—
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want? I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's overactive imaginations that
So that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready to tell it all.
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. You've seen what's here in my life. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years, the likes of which Caesar could never give me. I wouldn't choose for things to end that.
Very well. In that case, I'll contact the guards. Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo for me. I'll meet you just outside the workshop when I'm back.
Lyney has told me the whole... Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to...
Look who's What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lyney? Should we start...
Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo...
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the good news right away! It'll give her...
Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only...
You're third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything...
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the...
That's besides the point.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking...
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I still didn't know if I could trust you. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but
It's okay, we understand. He did but you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. Sorry, I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me. And then no one would be left to visit. Thank you all.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between... and to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time, while Caesar... At least his soul can finally rest in peace.
If only I'd...
Don't blame yourself, Gemma.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live. See?
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. This show will be a special one.
In Caesar's honor.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler,
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free... Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh, yeah!
Not this time. My brother's going, so I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's ready. The great magician Lyney has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight.
Wow!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a journey through the
Exciting stuff.
Yes, it's just...
No wonder. So how did you...
Well, children love magic because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. And somehow, I felt drawn to...
Aw, that sounds...
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand. I was so happy that day.
Oh, that's so cute!
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart. After all, you never know when the people...
That's right! Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but...
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now.
See? Even when that's the Phantom Weasel! Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean?
As Lyney once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all enjoying the There will now be a brief intermission, after which Lyney will perform the most electrifying act of tonight's show. The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House, so please make your way...
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places. Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon. Let's...
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't do any. This is a big mistake for a magician to make. But
Lyney? Don't we have... Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment...
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking. I know the questions.
Really? Well then, let's hear it!
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine, she never missed... But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day she ran... Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long she found her ticket to freedom. She would create a... After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar. After all...
So, being the master deceiver she was, the Weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now, all that remained was to frame him, but as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and at her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing afterwards. Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the Weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers, but I just have one question. You seem to think that I am...
Don't worry, Lorenzo, but I never believed that he was the Weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was too
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have, with a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé. Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but you? Everyone sympathized with your plight. Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was actually the mastermind behind his demise?
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing? But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out, even at the end?
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Lyney, if you're so confident in your having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But if the Weasel remained free...
An excellent answer.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you. If you'd care to...
As a matter of fact, there's one thing Why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people?
Of course. After all, if I had to guess, I would say that the real... left to fend for herself after her parents died young. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. This was her only source of happiness in life. But it was all she needed. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that dragged her further down the more she struggled to escape. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a breeding ground. I detest the happiness of others. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true.
That's some pretty...
Now it all does this story.
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my...
Huh. That's right! What? Because without that, none of this would have ever come to light!
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the... Lyney. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who...
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's...
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that which you hold...
10 years ago? Wait... Oh, I get it. You were He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something?
We remember all our debts. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and but we did not forget.
And? What exactly did you take from me?
Free? Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and... I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the
What are you trying to...
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you... Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act, and he knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your sake. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you... But that truth is gone now. And I guarantee you...
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone in a world full of lies.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the amazing Lyney to perform. I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand finale. Well, wonder no more.
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to his fatal... But we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the real...
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been Traveler, Paimon. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but...
Lyney, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone.
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So,
Like Lyney said, when you're ready, let's head outside.
but what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see...
All right. Well, let's go and watch Lyney's finale then.
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day, you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Lyney is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling.
How could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once.
What a heart-stopping magic show! This was really Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Lyney has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better grand finale. Looks like everyone really loved Lyney's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Lyney anywhere. Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. Oh, you mean the one where Caesar... Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed like Lyney's way of saying goodbye to Caesar. Alright, let's go look for... Are you alright? Paimon was scared to death when the
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenter. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling Suddenly, sometimes, I can't help but wonder what Caesar thought, and did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or...
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop. You learned magic from...
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic from street performers, but I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance, but I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirection skills, and make... We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves, but without proper guidance...
So that's why you sought Caesar?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking. But in all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to... For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, but in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, what amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him. Trust is a beautiful thing.
Lyney...
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, after Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to... That night, I remembered his smile. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty... You only realize how much...
Yeah, cheer up, Lyney. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. Delicious food, fun toys, and the Traveler by my side. Paimon, you know, Traveler, doesn't that kind of make you Paimon?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other has in the world. Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's what gave us the strength to get through the dark. That's why the darkness never consumed me and why it never will. Maybe we live in the shadows too, but we remember All right, time to lighten this conversation up a little.
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation. Lyney...
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are just...
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something.
Oh, all right then. I'll give it a go. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand! We ain't going along with...
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay, try this. Count down with me. 3?
3?
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared somewhere else.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower, but more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is...
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to...
Fine!
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student...
Is that it?
Look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I look forward to seeing you.
All right, shall we head back down too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and...
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite busy today.
Oh, please, Lyney, I'll only take a moment of your time. If you would... Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, and it was going... But just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma, had contacted...
That was...
Too late, bro.
That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some catch. Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to hide. Gemma
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could no longer...
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more to it. If that's all... Oh, I remember now. You and Gemma were nowhere to be found. Quickfire question. Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Lyney did a private magic trick too. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon, guess what? Lyney started...
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself. Is this supposed to mean...
No, I just...
What now?
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. The news about Gemma... Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. All right, I guess I'll leave you to continue the rest of your conversation.
Lynette?
Don't worry, I was...
Oh, really? Oh, thank goodness.
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both.
Please, take good care of that. I'd be really upset if you...